Persuasive Selling and Power Negotiation. Continued. Disc 2.
Laura Stack is a best-selling author and noted authority on personal productivity. She is the president of the Productivity Pro, Inc., a time management training firm in Denver, Colorado. Ms. Stack is dedicated to building high-performance productivity cultures by creating maximum results in minimum time with greater profits. For nearly 20 years, Laura has presented keynotes and seminars on improving output, lowering stress, and saving time in today's workplaces and homes. Widely regarded as one of the leading experts in the field of employee productivity and workplace issues, she has been featured nationally on the CBS Early Show, CNN, NPR, The New York Times, and USA Today. She's been a spokesperson for Microsoft, 3M, and Xerox, and is the designer of the Productivity Pro Planner by Daytimer. Her best-selling books include Super Competent, Leave the Office Earlier, Find More Time, and The Exhaustion Cure. Laura is the 2011-2012 president of the National Speakers Association. Laura holds an MBA and has been awarded the Certified Speaking Professional designation. For more information and resources, please visit www.theproductivitypro.com.
Hi, this is Laura Stack, the Productivity Pro. Welcome to this special audio edition of the 6 Laws of Approachability, how to break down barriers and get people to like you. We're going to discuss today your professional image. What is image? Let's talk first about that. I'd like to define that as the picture you project. Webster formally defines image as a mental conception held in common by members of a group and symbolic of a person's basic attitude and orientation. So I look at this as the picture that other people see. You're basically marketing yourself. So when we look at being approachable, getting people to like us, we can look at this in the context of marketing. Because basically, we are communicating value to others, which is just what marketing does, communicates value of a product or a service. So if we're talking about marketing ourselves, we would be the product, and our customers would be our internal and external clients, as well as vendors, colleagues. So marketing yourself has to do with the activities that you perform that are intended to either create or increase your perceived value to your customers. So it's about self-presentation and self-promotion. And there are absolutely things that you can do to get people to like you more. So think of yourself as a product, and you're vying for shelf space in the grocery store of life. And your boss, colleagues, vendors, clients, prospects are all pushing carts down the aisles, checking you out. What is going to make you stand out on the shelf from all the other products out there and say, pick me, pick me? So ask yourself, do you need to be repackaged? How can you be more approachable and get people to like you? These personal presentation skills are not listed in your job description, but they certainly play a crucial part in your career. The ability to handle yourself properly outweighs even your sales or your technical skills. If you know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it with grace and style, you'll have a competitive edge in your career. So the first law of approachability is to present yourself powerfully. Present yourself powerfully. Remember the last time you felt like $1,000,000? And then think about the service you received that day when you walked into a store or a restaurant, and the upbeat way that people treated you and the way that everything seemed to fall in place for you. You were projecting a strong, positive image to the world that said, I look great, I feel great, and I'm loaded. And everyone you met seemed to pick up on those vibes and respond to them in an equally upbeat way. So, was that a phony image that you were projecting? Not at all. In fact, it was an extremely accurate one. You were feeling positive and confident, and everything about you was broadcasting those feelings, just as you broadcast your feelings on your bad days, the ones when your spirits are low and you look and feel like 2 cents. So whether you talk or not, you are practically shouting information to anyone who comes within 20 feet of you. Perception is reality. If someone met you for the first time, after chatting with you for 3 minutes, if I ask them to then guess about you, what do you think that person's favorite type of music is? What kind of TV programs do you think that person likes to watch? What kind of make and model of car do you think that person drives? What do you think they'd really like to be doing for a living? How would you describe this person's personality? Surprisingly, after meeting someone within a few minutes, and I've tested this in seminars many, many times, other people can guess about the other person quite accurately. It's uncanny. What would you like other people to be guessing about you? And of course, they guess differently based upon that very first impression. You've probably all heard that impressions are set in the first 10 to 30 seconds of meeting. It's known as the primacy effect in psychology, and it is very hard to erase. So it's important that you make a favorable first impression and project yourself powerfully. You want the decisions that people make about you to be favorable. And when you step into a room, no one in that room knows you or has seen you, but they will make decisions about you based solely on your appearance and this image that you're projecting. So when you meet someone new, you take a fast, almost unconscious inventory about that person. And you hear things like, wow, she's a class act. You also hear things like, I don't know why, but I just don't trust that guy. So that's the first law of approachability, is remembering to project that powerful, confident image. Now, secondly, when you next meet someone, you want to follow certain etiquette. Follow proper, accepted etiquette. And I want to talk about 3 different areas in here in terms of approachability. I want to talk about the handshake, the introduction, and some business dress guidelines that are going to make you come across as more approachable. Let's talk first about shaking hands. The most important part of that first impression is to start off on the right foot by making a good first impression with a firm handshake. Once you do this incorrectly, it's difficult to change someone's perception. You want the handshake to establish trust and credibility. They do indeed create a lasting impression. And unfortunately, many people are not taught the proper way of shaking hands. And I am so stunned how many professionals still do this incorrectly. So, some handshaking tips. Make sure that your thumb is up with your palm slightly tilted. Don't extend a hand downward. People might think of kissing the top of your hand if you do that. Think of a gun, all right? Don't hold your hand down. Hold it up wide open. Next, you want web-to-web contact. Get in there. Don't grab fingers and crush them, and don't give just a limp fish. You want good web-to-web, palm-to-palm contact. Next, the tension is kind of like picking up a grapefruit. If you think about that, you don't want to crush their bones, but you also don't want this little wimpy, I'm not powerful clutch as well. How many pumps? 1. Don't hold on to their hand and keep pumping up and down. Cover their hand with yours. Some people clasp and they touch the other hand with theirs. Don't double pump, or double shake. Really be careful with that pump. Look for the eye color. That way you have eye contact. If you're looking for eye color, you're looking them in the eye, and it shows confidence. Listen for their name. Repeat it back when you say your name, and smile as you shake their hand. It shows that you're congenial, pleasant, and happy to be there. A tense face always signals to someone that you're uptight. So be careful of that handshake. If you're not sure if you have a good handshake, go ask your family members and friends and members of different genders to shake hands with you. Second, introduce others properly. You want to introduce the senior person or client or honored guest first. Think about who might be the quote inferior person, although we know people are not inferior. In that relationship, who is superior? You want to introduce the inferior to the superior. Miss Client, this is Bob Bryant. Honey, I'd like to introduce you to my mentor. Next, say something about the person being introduced. Mr. Bryant is our director of purchasing. Avoid long stories about how you two met or the person's background. If you provide all of the information, the two people don't have a chance to make small talk. And if you're introducing yourself, greet the person verbally after shaking hands by repeating his or her name and then stating yours immediately. Good to meet you, John. I'm Laura Stack. So when you introduce the inferior to the superior, for example, if you're introducing a junior executive to a senior executive, you always want to say the name of the important person first to help you. Mrs. Big Shot, I'd like to introduce Mr. Up and Coming, the new comptroller of our corporation. Miss Up and Coming, this is Miss Big Shot, the COO. So remember the order to help you. Touch the arm of the most important person and say his or her name first. And then symbolically in your mind, bring up the person whose arm you are touching to the other person. This is the way you'll remember how to introduce people of rank and status. And of course, if you're just introducing peers and friends to one another, Bill, this is Andrea, Andrea, Bill, that's totally fine. Now, when someone replies, how do you do? In response to an introduction, the response is not fine. How do you do is a greeting. It is not actually a question. So you would want to respond back, pleased to meet you, or how do you do? It is not something that actually expects a response. Now, in terms of dress, business dress, a very important component of how people see you is your outward appearance and your dress. So when you're wearing jeans or shorts or sandals, yes, I have seen this in a business meeting. Even when someone says, feel free to dress casually, it's inappropriate. You are representing yourself and your company, and people will judge you and your company by what they see and what they believe to be true about you. Oftentimes are incorrect, of course, their perceptions. But in general, a good rule is that there's little room in business for self-expression. Your company is paying you to look like a manager or the vice president or the CEO of your own company. Differentness is a threat. People playing in the symphony don't wear orange. When I'm out doing a speaking engagement, they're not paying me to be Laura. I might be more comfortable in a different outfit, but I will wear a business suit to signify my role. In business, you don't dress for your own comfort or for self-expression. Unless you're in some creative industries, there are exceptions, say in advertising and marketing, but you dress as a sign of respect for others and the position that they hold. That's how you create a bond of commonality between you. So take your cues from the people around you and the environment, not from your own preferences or taste. Identify the most successful people in the organization and imitate their manner of dress. They set the standards and the tone of the environment. And when in doubt, dress more conservatively. Ally McBeal's shorts are not appropriate in business. The world of business is more conservative than the college environment, the arts, or sports. So if you're a fashion setter, you can be viewed as, a little unstable or flighty or lacking in sincerity. Avoid clothing that's too flashy. I would recommend every year you buy one good suit. I mean, spend the money and maintain that conservative, classic image in environments where that is required. Basically, the strategy is to play it safe until you're certain of your ground and you have achieved enough credibility to express your own style. Understate, emulate those around you until you have established your position and identity and can risk making more of an individual statement. I personally draw the line in my closet between function and fashion. And I don't cross the line in business situations because my fashion sense does not relate to the role that I play when I'm working. Number 3, the third law of approachability and to get people to like you is to actually toot your own horn. Now, wait a minute. You said that I want to get people to like me. So if I'm being boastful or arrogant, how am I going to get people to like me? Well, sometimes we are our own worst critics and we're looking to everyone else for approval. We have to give ourselves credit and we have to project ourselves as confident from the inside out. You have to reverse the dynamic that you have to get approval from other people before you feel confident, because until you feel confident and project that to others, they aren't going to have confidence in you. So don't count on someone else to do this for you. We must learn to become self-recognizers and regular give ourselves credit when we deserve it. This is not bragging. When we deserve the credit, it's okay to project that confidence. Many people are uncomfortable with the whole notion of self-promotion. Maybe we were taught, not to think we're so special because people will think we're conceited. Or I hear comments, people saying, I don't feel comfortable talking about myself, or people will think it's obnoxious. Or if you're good at something, you don't have to advertise, or I'm too modest. Baloney. I am here to dispel these myths. You have to change your mindset in this area by appreciating yourself, your skills, your talents, and what you do well. You enhance your self-confidence. Unfortunately, self-appreciation is something most people don't allow themselves to experience. They are their own worst taskmasters. If I asked you to tell me what you love and admire about yourself, would you be able to do that with a straight face without blushing or stammering or feeling uncomfortable? You've got to know what those talents are. Self-appreciation clearly enhances your self-confidence. And if you want to go far in your career, you have to know how to do this. Management, in most cases, does not take enough responsibility for recognizing peak performers. Clients are not going to hire you if you cannot articulate this very clearly. The onus falls on you. So you have to learn to regularly give yourself credit when you deserve it. This is not bragging. This is not being conceited. It is simply telling them what you believe and know to be right about yourself when you meet them. So the very first time you're introduced, a person will invariably ask you, so what do you do? Most of us answer with a job title and a company name. Boring. This does absolutely nothing to enhance your value. A title can mean many different things in different companies, and that person may not be familiar with your company. So what you have to do instead is have down pat an answer when someone asks you, so what do you do? I will never forget 2 individuals I met who used this technique very successfully. They were able to plant a picture in my mind of them at their very best. For example, instead of, I'm a marketing rep with ABC, one said, I help people get the word out about their products and services. Last week, one of my clients was featured in the Washington Post. Wow, I was impressed. Instead of, I work for XYZ company in customer service. How about, I make angry people happy. Last week, I made sure 23 disgruntled people stayed with us. Great greetings like this grow into great connections. Write your own answer to what you will say to the question, so what do you do? Come up with a good twist on what you do. You only get better through trying and practicing, and try it out on a few of your friends and family. The 4th law of approachability, how to get people to like you, is to model enthusiasm and a positive attitude. You know the saying, laughter is contagious? Yawns are also contagious, don't you think? Another thing that's contagious is attitude. Let me ask you this. Is yours worth catching? You know those people who brighten up a room just from being there? Those that just make you feel good just being around them. And then there are other people who just suck the life out of you. You feel just tired walking away from interactions with certain people. Emotions and feelings are highly transferable. And people who know how to spread their enthusiasm to others can rule the world. So, what is attitude? Attitude is defined as your manner or disposition showing your feelings or thoughts. It's how you look at things. Other definitions have included the way you mentally view the world around you, how you view your environment, how you look at your future, the focus you develop toward life itself. It's something that's a part of who you are. It's how you look at things emotionally, whether you see them positively or negatively. An exercise I do in some of my seminars is called the perfect assistant. And I let my seminar participants know that today I am making an announcement that each of them get to hire their own personal assistant. I've got the budget. Yes, you have your own personal assistant. And you want to pick the right person. And I have them throw out characteristics of what the person should be like or have. And then we go through and label whether the words that they gave me or phrases are attitudes or skills. Guess how many more attitudes we will have than skills? About 3 times more. So you ask yourself, well, if someone has the skill but a bad attitude, which would be important? Attitude. That's the number one reason people get hired or fired. It's attitude. If you look at Walt Disney, for example, one of his quotes is, "Find me someone with a heart, and I can teach them how to run a cash register." I love that. It's far easier to teach business skills to someone with great customer service skills than hire a grumpy MBA who doesn't know how to smile. It's hard to teach that. I have found that when all is said and done, after all the books I've read and all the seminars I've attended, the single quality that ultimately governs our overall success and happiness in life is attitude. I might be a good speaker. I might have some great ideas to teach you on the platform, but ultimately people like working with me because of me. They could probably get a similar program elsewhere, but I believe I have a great attitude. And intelligent children fail in school because of a poor attitude. Talented teams lose games because of bad attitudes. Jobs are lost and relationships reap the consequences of poor attitudes. And guess what? Your business can fail. Your job can be on the line because of a poor attitude. Michael LaBeouf says in his book, How to Win Clients and Keep Them for Life, which I highly recommend, the greatest client you will ever win is you. Are you excited about what you do? You have to remember to be excited about your work. And even if you're not, fake it. Make it look like you're excited. You have to have a passion for your business and the people with whom you work. And if you feel this way, people clearly connect with you and they want to work with you. They want to do business with you. If they feel your apathy or negativity or wishy-washy attitude, they'll eventually bring their attention and their business elsewhere. The 5th law of approachability is to remember that the face is the window to the soul. Watch your face. I want to talk in this section about the importance of smiling, making eye contact, and nodding to acknowledge people. Let's talk first about smiling. There's nothing that more displays your good attitude, your sense of humor, your caring. Whenever there's a job opening at Southwest Airlines, it's not uncommon for them to have 5,000 applications for 500 jobs. And the screening process is fascinating. After they pass just the original screening process, yes, checked your box, the prospects are set up for a very short interview. Now, the screeners don't care how they look in this interview necessarily, what they say. The main criteria in this first interview is that the applicant must smile 3 times during that interview. Amazing. Now, applicants who do this go to the next phase. Southwest Airlines did a study and determined that 95% of their client complaints were based on only 5% of their employees. So their first thought was, well, how do we hire this 5%? But then they decided instead to hire a social psychologist to do a study of that 5%. Turned out those individuals had one thing in common. The ones who caused the most complaints were self-centered and more interested in helping themselves than helping passengers. For example, if the plane was going to be landing soon and a passenger asked for a pillow, these people might either give them a look that says, "I'm busy," or simply toss one to them. So Southwest's objective became to hire people who, in addition to smiling 3 times, were not self-centered. So if they passed the smiling test, they went to the next phase, which was a group interview. All of the applicants got together in a large room and had to answer the question, "Why do I want to work for Southwest?" in front of the rest of the group. What they didn't know is they weren't being screened on their delivery, but how they acted in the audience, how they were as an audience member. They wanted to know who was giving the most support to the other applicants by listening, paying attention, clapping, etc. If a person was gazing into space or preparing their notes or not paying attention, they weren't chosen. The people who were smiling and nodding their heads would prove to be excellent in client service and team skills. And as a result of this program, Southwest cut their complaint ratio by 98% and still have one of the lowest complaint ratios of any airline. So never underestimate the power of a smile and the ability to establish rapport and say, I want to be of assistance simply through that smile. Second, let's talk about eye contact, the second element of the face being the windows to the soul. Eye contact shows another person they have your attention. You know how you can just tell when someone isn't looking at you? Isn't that annoying? When they're not looking at you, you know they're not listening to you. Or they kind of go, and you know they are not paying attention. They get that glazed look in their eyes, and you want to suddenly move and see if they look at you. Sometimes, if you just get bored looking at someone, try to maybe look at one eye and then another eye, then maybe look for a smile. Really pay attention to someone. Resist that temptation to look around the room because it appears like, oh, who else is more interesting that's coming? This is sometimes called the hitchhiker theory. If you look away while someone is speaking, they will feel as if you're not listening. Because when the eyes aren't there, the ears go too. That's the hitchhiker theory. The ears hitchhike along with the eyes. Now, too much eye contact can give someone the wrong message. You don't want to stare them down, right? And make them uncomfortable or fix a mean look on them because that might be confrontational. So really watch, smile, look in their eyes. And when you're speaking, you can glance away so that you're not uncomfortably staring at one another. Third, nod to acknowledge. As you're talking with someone, if you nod your head when they speak, it shows you are listening. It does not mean yes. In our culture, a nod says, I'm tracking you. I'm following you. I want to hear everything that you have to say. Now, you don't want to nod your head up and down to the point that you look like a bobblehead or a puppy in the back of a car. But when someone's speaking to you, don't just sit there like a statue. Give them a few nods, throw in a couple ahas and grunts, and maybe kind of knit your brows. Show them, I'm tracking you. I'm paying attention to you. So these three things, a smile, solid eye contact, and nod to acknowledge, will really reflect the windows to your soul through your face. The last law of approachability and how to get people to like you is to watch the tone of your voice. You want to have a clear, audible, enthusiastic, positive voice. I love this poem from an old Dear Abby column. It says, it's not so much what you say as the manner in which you say it. It's not so much the language you use as the tone in which you convey it. Come here, I sharply said, and the child cowered and wept. Come here, I said. She looked up and smiled, and straight to my lap she crept. Words may be mild and fair, but their tone may pierce like a dart. Words may be soft as the summer air, but the tone may break the heart. For words come from the mind, grow by study and art, but tone leaps from the inner self, revealing the state of the heart. Whether you know it or not, whether you do or don't care, gentleness, kindness, love, or hate, envy and anger are there. Then would you quarrels avoid and peace and love rejoice? Keep anger not only out of your words, keep it out of your voice. So be aware of 5 different vocal turnoffs. 1, sounding apathetic. This means you're showing little or no emotion. It's just you don't care, you're indifferent, you're not interested. The second one is sounding rushed or hurried. The third is sounding irritated, as in, oh, you're bothering me. The fourth is a phony kind of tone that really is perceived as being fake or sounding like you're lying. And the fifth is hesitant, where you're not really sure, maybe a little anxious. People don't have a lot of confidence in you in this tone. So that is the end of our audio program. And I want you to remember these 6 laws of presenting yourself powerfully, of being approachable. If you remember these 6 laws, present yourself powerfully, be aware of your image, follow proper etiquette, toot your own horn, model enthusiasm and a positive attitude. Remember that the face is the window to the soul, and watch your tone of voice. You will go far in breaking down barriers, getting people to like you, and being more approachable. This has been Laura Stack, the Productivity Pro.
You've been listening to Laura Stack, the Productivity Pro. For more information and resources, please visit www.theproductivitypro.com.
This book is continued on Disc 3.